So we got asked to do an exchange student video, talk about our exchange. So we just wrote down a few things.
Probably common questions that a bunch of people have asked us.
But we have to say that all of this is our own experience. Wherever you're in a good place, it's going to be your own experience. This is just something that happened to us.
It's where you make it.
The first question was, what happens when you're shy? And I just feel like if you're shy, you're going to not mess it up a lot, but you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities you can get. And just be open with everything and not have any high expectations at all. And I don't know, give everyone a chance to get to know you as who you are and not try to be anyone else. Just be open, talk to people, and they're gonna love you for who you are and not what you're trying to be.
And if you get invited to a goodbye party the day after you arrive, just go to it. Even though you don't know people,
yes, go
to it. Because I think that's one of the things we actually regret not doing. We got invited to a farewell for one of our friend's older brothers. We found out later that everyone was there, so it would have been
all of the people we hang out with were there.
It would have made it easier first days of school.
Host family and arrival. For me, it was the first time I got placed was in a so-called arrival family, which means my coordinator, which is her host mom now, placed me in her house, but saying that she'll only have me until a certain time, until she finds me a family. So it wasn't for sure that she'd had a family until I get there. So actually 4 days before I left for my flight, I got a call or a little text that said, I placed you in the Costello family, which is the family I live in now, which is just across from Matilda's
house. I got my host family really early because, since my host mom works for EF and she's a coordinator, which means she places other students. So I got my placement almost a year ahead. Yeah. Which honestly was really nice. That made me I could email them and I kind of got to know them a little better.
Well, I got my arrival family in February and I signed up in May, so it almost took a year. So when people stress out about not having a family, I know how you feel. And even after
don't
that,
stress.
Yes, not at all. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll work out. You're gonna start a new school. You're probably not gonna know anyone. But
most likely
you won't know anyone. We were super lucky to have my host brother, who's the same age as us, going to the same school, which meant the day pretty much we arrived, we got to meet his friends. We got to meet his friends and hang out with them. So first day of school wasn't as hard as I expected it to be. You realize for real that everything is in English.
Yes.
You walk into class and
you just can't speak German or Swedish or whatever language you are, and you come to campus where 3,000 students from the age of 16 to 18 just live their life, and you just walk in there and you're like, hey, I'm the new student, and you just have to make the best of it.
Don't have too high expectations, but for me at least, it was in the movies.
Yeah.
You walk in there and it's
High School Musical.
It's like High School Musical, not joking. Especially during lunch. The
food fight.
Yeah, food fights and everything, but the way people sit, it's just in the movies.
The tables, there's nerds, there's the football players.
Yeah, football players.
There's the little girly
cheerleaders. It's not a bad thing though.
Yeah. School is a lot of fun.
In school, that's the easiest way to get to know people. I know my first day, my first or second day, I noticed one guy that was in 2 or 3 of my classes. He was actually in 3 of my classes. And I figured, why not talk to him, since we have so many classes together. So my last hour, I just turned around and introduced myself.
To say something that is asked a lot, but I don't really want to talk about a lot, is the cost. And I think it's something that you have to consider to be an exchange student in general. But EF gives you a program price, which you have to pay for, and I don't know, there's different ways, different percentages you can go by. And during or throughout your year, you just have to figure out with your real parents how much you need.
In the end, some months are going to be more expensive too, because the beginning of school, there are a lot of fees to pay for sports if you're doing that, for books,
Christmas,
and
you have to get
Christmas. If you go on trips with your host families,
there's just extra stuff you have to pay for. So it's not the program price pays for everything. No, the program price pays for being here, for living here, for being insured. But
I know something else that people have asked is if we've gone on any of the, what are they called, the
Discovery
EF,
tours.
the Discovery tours, and no, we haven't. We've gone with our host families, and that's it.
But it was a lot of
It's
fun.
amazing. Yeah, if you get the chance, do it.
And I feel like no matter where your host family goes, like even if it was just a trip to the Grand Canyon,
Yeah,
like,
or if
which is
it's
super
just a
close
trip to
here,
the cabin.
it's so much fun.
A lot of the things they do it for you, so you get to experience it, so you get to see the state you're in and actually be a part of what they usually do.
They wouldn't just do it just because.
Yeah.
Our favorite part. This is probably the hardest question.
I've had so much fun during this year.
I've had so
I
many
can't
favorite
even
parts.
pick a single moment. I know I love the football games.
Oh yeah.
It's a really, because everyone get together and they cheer on the team, and the school spirit is crazy.
I think my favorite part is being so adventurous. Like, I don't know about Sweden, but in Germany, you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm either gonna go downtown.
You kind of have your schedule, what you do.
You do the same thing every
You
day.
hang out with friends, you go to the gym, you do whatever. You go to school. We went to school from 8 in the morning. No, 7:30 to 2 o'clock. And usually after that, people have sports. Or
Depending on the
clubs,
season,
depending on what you do. In Sweden, I had days that started at 8:30 and ended at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a big difference. Back to the question. Favorite parts. People say there's not that much to do because we live in a small town. But you just have to think outside the box and really see what you can do. Mattress surfing, couch surfing, they go
hiking a
canal
lot.
surfing. Hiking is a really big thing here because there are so many mountains.
Yeah.
There's a lake, you can go cliff jump, you can just go swim, get food.
Yes, you will gain weight.
You
Yes,
will gain weight,
yes.
yeah.
I thought I was gonna gain way more. Like, I was counting with a lot more than I actually did. Like, obviously, I'm a little more than I was before this year. But I think as soon as you come here, you can just figure out. Like,
People don't eat as unhealthy as you would expect.
Yeah.
When I was thinking of America before I moved here, I was thinking McDonald's and everything was deep fried. It was pizza and soda, which can be, of course. And it all depends on what family you end up with. There is a lot of Mexican food. My host mom loves to cook, so does your host dad. So a lot of homemade food too for us, which I think have helped us a lot. I mean, it's an exchange here. Just enjoy it. Don't think too much about what you eat or...
If it's 5 kilos or 10 kilos, you can get rid of it when you're back in Germany or back in Sweden.
And
don't try to
focus
be
on
healthy.
food.
Don't try to be healthy because people are gonna not invite you to food runs anywhere.
Since you don't really have a real lunch in school, usually they go after school if there's nothing to do, like no sports. Go after school to get food and just hang out.
That's something that I think I spend a lot of money on, is like just getting snacks and getting drinks and getting food. I kind of already talked about the time from applying to actually arriving here.
Yeah.
So when I applied, I think it was summer 2013, and I started looking up exchange years way before, like years
Me too,
before that. So it really just depends on yourself, like when you start getting interested in that. But I think if you apply a good year before you're trying to leave, that's just sort of
It's a really long process and there's a lot of paperwork. So be patient.
You're gonna sit in front of your laptop forever. You're gonna be on the phone forever.
And you're gonna have to have teachers sign it and ask for stuff. You're gonna need to ask people for help, but it's okay because it's worth it in the end.
Everything is worth it. Someone asked me if I would like recommend EF, and I mean obviously it depends where you go and what family, because at the end EF is not my family. Like, my family is the Costellos, and I just think that EF was a great support this whole year and even before that, and they were always helpful with everything.
And they always have someone you can call. And when I had no idea what to do and the papers were all up like to the roof,
Sometimes I
just
called them
asked
like 10 times a day, the same person, and she was like, okay, see you in 10 minutes pretty much when I hung up. So that's...
There's a camp before you arrive to your host family. I didn't go to it. I chose not to go to it because I felt like it would be nice just to fly over, leave your old life just in Sweden for me and go straight to your new family. I didn't want anything in between.
The school here started, July 24th or something, so I had to leave early from my German school to get here in time. But even if it wouldn't have started that early, I don't know if I would have gone to the camp, just because I really wanted to leave everything in Germany behind and be right here. Like, I didn't want the 2 weeks in between. And, like,
I know,
even though it helps you a lot, but I think for me it was just way better this way. It's really whatever you want to do, but we didn't go, so that's all we can say about that.
Thinking and dreaming in English, I would say. I started thinking in English before I started dreaming. I think dreaming...
You catch yourself sometimes.
You catch yourself. For me, first time I really thought of it was in weights, I think. I catch myself counting push-ups or something in English. And I was just like, wow. And then after a while, I caught myself dreaming in English. And I think that was around Christmas time, kind of.
It starts when you dream with the people here.
Some people think we're a double placement. We're not. No. She
probably
lives with one family. I live with another. But we live across the street from each other. So we're neighbors. She said my host family was her arrival family. Mm-hmm. So we had to sign since she didn't have an actual host family. We had to sign a paper that said we were okay with being in a double placement with each other, which like would mean we would live in the same family. But
back then we thought it was something bad. Just because you don't want to be...
You kind of want it to be your own experience. Yeah. Which
and you want the family to focus on yourself,
yeah.
kind of.
Looking back, I don't know what I would have done without her.
We would have been fine. We would have been totally fine in the same house because that's pretty much what we are now.
Yeah.
We live in the same house. We're always together. And especially before I could drive, we couldn't just go anywhere. We always needed someone to take us somewhere. The only thing we did,
yeah.
Like, we were just together at my house, at her house.
And thanks to that, I think we have like 2 host families. Yeah. We've gotten 2 extra families here instead of 1.
And she's not my friend, she's my sister.
This year wouldn't have been the same without her. I think
it would have been so different in a lot of things. Like, we were together all the time.
Yeah. Good or bad? I don't know.
Sometimes.
We're not Pia, we're not Matilda, we're the foreigners.
Or Pia and Matilda. Like, that's what people know us at.
Yeah. And even the foreigners. But it's okay. I mean, I don't mind being called the foreigner. You'll be called the foreigner.
Or I know Germany. That. If you're German, don't get offended.
You're gonna have to take a lot of jokes as a German. As a Swede,
they don't really know where you're from. They don't know where you're from.
They were like, oh, Switzerland. Yeah. So you have a lot of goats there? I've had, a friend of mine. He's a really good friend of mine now, but he asked me in the beginning if we had apples, if we have ice cream, if we have polar bears.
They say we drive on the wrong side of the road.
Driving.
I got my license in the U.S. when I was 16. I turned 16 in September. So, like, the thing is,
you get a permit, which basically is a paper saying you're allowed to drive with your parent.
Yeah. For a few months. Or anyone over 21. It doesn't have to be your parent. It doesn't even have to be your family. It just has to be old enough. Yeah. So you get that, and then you can drive for 6 months. And then after that, you can get your actual license, which means you can drive alone wherever you want to, and you're a graduated driver. So that's what I did. 2 weeks after I came here, I got my permit.
First of all, you need to talk to your host family to make sure it's okay.
Before you even go to the States, you have to sign it in your local
with your birth parents. You need to make sure it's okay. And I also think that depending on where you're placed, you might have buses. Yeah. You might have a subway. Yeah. You might be able to take the
Maybe your best friend lives right next to you and he can drive, then you don't need a car. But the thing about driving is some host parents won't allow it. Some agencies, if you don't go with EF, won't support it at all. Like, you can't even try to get a license. And getting a license with your visa and everything is a lot of paperwork, and it really depends on the driver's license place.
So be open, talk to people, do sports, get involved in school.
Sports,
everything.
Very important for
and if you have
eating problems.
But of course, spend time with your host family, because they're doing this.
Yeah.
That's not only for you, but for them too. They're letting another culture into their home.
Don't expect them to be like your family at home. Don't expect, if you're at home in whatever country you're from and you don't have to do chores, doesn't mean you don't have to do chores here.
And I think that's something easy too. Just in the beginning, sit down and talk to your host mom, your host dad, or your whole family, and ask, what am I expected to do?
And
what do you want me to do? And what are your rules? What are the curfews? What chores do you want me to do?
Because there's going to be a lot of misunderstandings, especially in the beginning.
If you have any questions, just ask them. Because they will be there for you. And they will answer. And are gonna try to help you as much as possible.
They're just
same with the rest
people.
of the year. If you have any problems, if anything happens, just talk to them. It's not that hard.
What I got asked to is if I extended my year. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And no. Like, yes, I extended it, but you can't. You can only extend it limited time.
Yeah, because your visa will expire. I extended for a month, pretty much.
About a month.
Yeah. Best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
So
This is probably the funnest month ever.
yeah.
Yeah. If you extend it, you have to get your own flight. EF won't take care of that, but you have to let EF know a certain amount of time before that.
But they will contact you about all that, so
you'll
don't
be
worry. I think that's it. Hopefully.
Probably. If there's any more questions.
If there are any more questions, yeah, just comment or whatever. You do you, and we'll try to help out as much as possible.
Yeah. And what I just think, what the most important part is, every single thing we just said is all our experience. Everything we did, everything we had to work for, pretty much.
Yeah.
If you want to do it any different, you can. We're not trying to tell you what to do, what you have to.
We're not telling you either that this is how your exchange year is going to be.
It might be
not at all
completely different. It might be better. It might be worse. We can't tell you. We're not gonna manage that for you. And that was just how it worked out for us. And like we said, we're super lucky that we're so close together. But we just encourage you to talk to They might not be going to the same school, but you can still be friends with them. We're so many we're friends with so many people from different schools. It doesn't even have to be your own school you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
Just
Seriously, put
do
yourself
whatever
out there
you
and
feel
be open. That's the key to a successful year. Yep.
Okay.
I think that's it.